Hello and welcome to the Godcast. It's me, Alfred, once again, and I really hope you guys been taking care of yourselves, basically taking care of your physical selves, your mental selves, and your essence. And we're gonna get straight into it today. I'll be speaking on really embracing your uniqueness. Embracing your uniqueness. Now, what is embracing your uniqueness, and what do I mean by this? Basically, what I'm saying is, when you embrace your uniqueness, you're not trying to fit in to others' expectations of you. You are a unique being, and in your journey to being the God self, the best version of yourself, your God self, you do not want to compromise on your uniqueness and the things that make you who you are, where you are from, and what you do. So, in other words, you also do not need to please anyone. Whoever it is, you do not really need to please that person, because you are who you are, and you conduct yourself accordingly. And so people have to accept you for who you are, unless you are now infringing in other people's lives and doing things that are out of conduct. But as long as you're taking care of your behavior and your habits and making sure they do not infringe on others, then you can embrace that, because it's who you are. And so in this way, it's really not your duty to change for others. However, others may have to change and accept who you are. And when I speak on this, I'm not really speaking on those or about those people who deliberately seek attention, or just seek to disrupt others intentionally, so that they can get attention and try and make others feel a certain way, or feel that they have to accept them, even though they are not really trying to do what they are supposed to do, but they're deliberately trying to annoy or just make others accept them, because they have not yet accepted themselves. Basically, people who have accepted themselves, they do not infringe on others. They do not impose their will on others, or force others to accept them. They are who they are, and if you accept it or not, they move on. So this is a person who embraces who he is, what he is, and where he's from. So those who infringe, those who try to impose their will on others, usually are the very same people who have not accepted, nor do they like who they are. So they're trying to change others and force others to accept who they are, and so that they can feel comfortable and confident about themselves, because they have not really worked on themselves to create the sort of confidence that does not need to really impose or try to force others to accept you. With that said, once you embrace your uniqueness, you embrace your true self, and you are on your way to evolve into the God version of yourself, the true self, your essence, what will happen is that you will be much more attuned others' approval, and so people will identify you as who you are because you've created that really unique or that unique vision of who you've really ever wanted to be. And this way it will be very easy for people to identify the person that you are and what you bring, the uniqueness rather that you bring with you. And so accepting your uniqueness, accepting and embracing who you are is something that you really have to work on, because as I see it, the world really wants people to sort of change and not be who they are. They want most people really want to feel comfortable around you, and so they have expectations of you. Usually it can also be our parents, it can be our friends, it can be our teachers, whoever it is. They have certain expectations of you, and they want you to be or act or behave a certain way. Now, once you accept behaving way that a society or the way your parents want you, and it's not what you really want to behave, or it's not the way you like to behave, this will be a conflict between you and your inner self, your God self, and it will be hard for you to really accept yourself this way. And once you accept the identity or the narrative that the world or the society has created for you, then what will follow basically is self-hate. And this is can be seen by a lot of towards a lot of people who usually have this hatred, usually towards themselves and then eventually towards others. This self-hate comes because they have not accepted their uniqueness, and they have accepted identity that has been placed on them by others. Granted, it's very, very tough to fight against people who try to change you so that they can accommodate, or rather they can accommodate a vision of you, of what they want from you. But it's ultimately your choice to accept what society or what the world wants you to be. So it's really up to you. Either you accept it and run along with it, or disregard it and create your own identity by embracing your own uniqueness. So identifying your uniqueness and embracing yourself means that one aspect, very important aspect, is that you have to identify your strength and your weaknesses. Now, the problem is a lot of us, we really run away from identifying such things. We probably only try to see one aspect of it, whether it's the weakness, and then we do not even try to rectify these weaknesses. We just dwell on them and then see them as weaknesses and do nothing about them. And then the other aspect is the strength. Most of us just play along with our strength. Well, there's nothing really wrong with this, but our strength sometimes may be our weaknesses, because if all they know about you is your strength, they may identify your weaknesses or weaknesses between your strength and then use it against you. So identifying both your strength and your weaknesses, balancing them out, and then really trying to work with both your strength and weaknesses will cultivate your uniqueness so that you are better able to identify yourself, and others will be able to identify you by these strengths and weaknesses. And these strengths and weaknesses will only come about or be identified through self-reflection and introspection, through meditation and all that. But you need to really identify these, thoroughly reflect on yourself, thoroughly introspect, and know your weaknesses and your strength. Another thing is that we all have a certain story that we can create, that we have. The path that we take gives a certain story, a unique story. So embracing your story instead of always thinking that your story does not matter, embracing it and identifying that, recognizing rather that it is a unique story that you can tell, will help you, because it can also help others. Your story may be unique, but there are others who can use your story to get out of whatever stressful situation they are in, or strenuous situation they come into. So accepting your story and not always downplaying your story, accepting that it's a unique story and that one that you have to tell, will help you embrace yourself more and embrace your uniqueness more. Another thing is not to try and compare yourself to others. Comparison is really one of those things that really kill uniqueness, and the world is very it really tries to compare others between other people. So don't fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others. You are unique. All is good when you are comparing yourself so that you can identify how to best be a better version of yourself, by maybe being inspired or motivated by others. You can compare that, but do not compare them when you see that you think that they are better off or they are better than you are. No one is really better than you are. You are just as good as them. If you are willing to work on your weaknesses and your strength, if you are willing to learn and do what is necessary to get you to where you want to be, and not necessarily be who you think you want to be as compared to the other person. That other person is in his own journey. The other person is doing his own thing. So comparing yourself now means you're downplaying your own uniqueness, and don't not fall into this trap. Also try not to compromise on your values and principles, because your values and principles should be the thing that grounds you, should be the thing that keeps you grounded. You do not have to listen to everyone. You do not have to take everyone's word, especially if they go against your principles and your values. Your values are yours, they are your own, and that's what makes you who you are. Your principles, your values, your habits. Only change them if need to, and I should say you do not always have to be rigid on them. If you think it's time to change them, then do so. But if you think people want you to change just to accommodate them, just to make them feel better, then there's no reason to do so. Because if it goes against your principles and it does not make you feel better, then there's no need for you to downplay your principles or your values. One way to also learn about your uniqueness is to seek out your talents, to really cultivate your talents. You see, your talents are one thing that will really create a unique perspective of you, and it will also create a sort of uniqueness within you by identifying and really separating you from others. Your talents, whether it's writing, whether it's singing, whether it's creating music, even creating podcasts, speaking, all these things are one thing that will always separate you from the rest, because they're true identity of you. The way you speak, the way you write, the way you sing, the way you create music, there's an identity that cannot be duplicated. So cultivating and really creating your talent is one way of really creating that uniqueness that brings the best version of you, that will also bring out your God self. Another thing is, if you feel like, or you think you are somewhere where you are not appreciated, where people constantly want you to compromise on your principles, they want you to change, even though you do not think it's wise, then seek out people, or seek out a tribe that you can resonate with. People who think the same as you. Think people who will understand you. That's the best thing you can do to your mental state, or to your God self, because people who resonate with you, people who accept you for who you are, will not really look at you as someone strange, or will want you to change, because they already know who or what you're about, and they will want what they will want from you is that uniqueness, what you bring, your talents, your vision, your all around your uniqueness. They will not need you to change for anything, because they already accepted that you bring certain values to them. So seek out a tribe, seek out a sort of clan, or create one, so because this will then set out a good environment for you to really cultivate that God's self, without needing to compromise or to always fight against those who want you to change for them. Another aspect is also to stop chasing validation from others. You do not need validation. You do not need people to validate who you are or what you do. Go on, as long as you're not infringing, or you're not breaking any law, or you feel like you think you're not doing anything wrong and you know it, then no need for validation. No one needs to validate who you are or what you are doing. Go ahead, do what you do, because trying to please others is another thing that you really will push your uniqueness away from you, because now you want to try and validate or get validation from others, and most of the times other people, because of their own selfishness or their own low self-esteem, they will want you to just stay stagnant. They want you to stay the same, so that they can feel better themselves. They will rather feel better about themselves than see you shine. Not many will want to see your uniqueness, or many want to see you shine to be someone great. So if you think certain people won't accept you, go ahead, do what you do what you think you have to do, and accept your own validation. Trust in yourself, have self-confidence that you will create that unique self, that the God self that is supposed to shine and is supposed to do what it's supposed to do in this world. But all this won't work if you will not accept who you are. First, you have to really accept who you are. By accepting who you are, then you've basically accepted what ever trait that you have created or have chosen in your path, and this also means that you have to accept that you most of the times you'll be alone. Do not be afraid to be alone. This is the time to that where your unique self comes out. When you're alone, you identify what are the things that make you who you are, what you are and what you are not. This is the only way to know who you really are when you are alone. Be alone more. Accept that a lot of the times you have to be alone. You do not always have to run with the crowd. You do not always have to be around people. But being alone will now will bring that uniqueness out of you, because being alone forces you to identify yourself. It forces that self, that God self, to come out, and then you can really shine and be the God version of yourself. And excuse me, out of all these points that I tried pointing out, I think this is the most important, is the loving yourself, self-love. You can't really be unique or embrace yourself if you hate yourself, hating who you are, not accepting who you are. And this is the thing that will you never really go about or around it. Hating yourself will really create a really deep psychological or maybe a mental stagnation in you. You will not really blossom into the unique version of yourself, because self-hate is one thing that will never take you anywhere. So loving yourself first should be one of the first rules. Truly loving yourself, even when you're called selfish, even if people think you are self-centered, egocentric, however they try and label you, make sure you continue loving yourself. Now, loving yourself means that you've already accepted your uniqueness, your God self, and that's the true love out there. Because loving yourself means that you already love the God version of you. So whatever is in you, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's a saint, whether it's a sinner, now that is the one thing that you have to accept, is loving yourself. And there's no compromise on this. Everything else may not be up to par, but at least loving yourself and keeping that true love of self will at least give you that uniqueness that you have to embrace, and eventually will always bring you closer to the God version of yourself. With that said, I'd like to end here, and till next time, keep on embracing yourself, keep on developing and evolving into the best version of yourself. Until next time, peace to the gods.